All right. Hello, hello, my friends. We are back with another Coach's Corner. I'm Gina Ramirez, a licensed therapist and certified health coach, and I'm here with my friend Kerri today. We're talking about working women and productivity all month long. And so I invited Kerri to come along on this conversation to tell us her favorite hack. But before we do that, please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you and who you help.
Yeah, this is great. Gosh, Gina and I met the other day, and it's so fortuitous because our work really aligns when we think about helping people. So I trained coach through ICF, meaning that I support leaders in messy dynamic situations. So that's typically in corporate settings, and thinking through how do we slow down to go fast, right? Like how do we pull out of that messiness and sort of streamline the work, not all of the work, but the right work. So today's topic really fits perfectly into the very work that I do.
Yes, absolutely. We do need to slow down to go fast, but it's really hard. It's so hard to do it.
Yeah, and I think for me, I don't know about you, Gina, but some hard-earned lessons through life. So in my 30s, I had been ambitious, fast-tracked, felt like my life was a little too comfortable for how I wanted to serve the world. And so my partner and I thought, like, let's just toss everything to the wind and see what happens. So I applied for a principalship on a NATO base in the Netherlands, and he applied for med school. We sort of said, like, we'll run with whatever happens. I did not get the job. So we ended up traveling. I say we did med school. He started med school at 39.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah. And we're just a few years apart. So kind of yanked me out in the prime of my career. We moved 3 different countries. I had 9 different jobs, crazy experiences out of that. And I really started to see these patterns on how leaders show up, the productivity, ended up building this ASKhole framework that
I love that name.
yeah, fun to talk about on a different thing. I just published a book behind me on this side, but it really morphs out of that idea of like how can we be more productive on the right things and not on everything. So that's how I came to sort of view the world like I do.
Yeah. So tell us about your favorite hack, your favorite productivity hack,
Yeah.
especially for working women, because that's the biggest audience here.
Yeah. So when I think about how we sort of show up as women, this picture comes to mind for me. I was doing a social media post recently and talking about productivity and slowing down. And gosh, this is us, right? Like do it better, faster, healthier, more smiley, more arms coming out, achieving everything. And if I were to say one hack that I sort of think has become true for me, it's that idea of letting go, of having to do it all yourself. So still driving to achieve the standard and the ambition that you want, but really delegating it out, which doesn't happen until you first sort of let go to have others help you. And so if there was one hack, it would be that letting go and delegating.
Yeah. And it's so hard because oftentimes I feel like we do it best. Whether it comes to loading the dishwasher or projects at work, it's like, how can I let go of that when I'm the one who knows how to do it? And I do it better than everybody else.
Yeah. And it's hard to accept it being done a little differently, but I think the underlying message, at least one that I've sort of wrapped my head around over the years, is if someone else helps out, does that make me lesser? You know, if I delegate, am I putting more on them because I'm not enough? Am I wrestling with how they might do it because it might say something about me that my way wasn't the right way if they do it a little bit differently, still accomplishing the same thing in the end? So more like, I think delegation first is this like internal struggle around I'm enough. I don't have to have 8 million arms and a superwoman badge and all of this other stuff. I can be whole, and as I say, the whole package, and have other people support and delegate. And they want to, if I just let down that guard of sort of being vulnerable and saying, gosh, I need some help and I'm willing to let go and I'm willing to accept you do it differently. That doesn't mean that my way is less or better or anything else.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said, what does it say about me? You know, I hate to say this, but we're always kind of internalizing, whether it's, coming outward or inward, but I feel like we're always internalizing the outside. Like, what am I doing here that is reflection? It's a reflection of me on some level.
Yeah. And it's because we make it all about us, it throws us into this awkward state And so I think the times that I've delegated or used a virtual assistant or whatever the context is, that I then sort of shortcut the communication process when it comes to effective delegating, and I've just blown through it really fast, and I really want you to do blah. And because I'm awkward and I haven't wrapped my head around feeling comfortable letting go and that I am enough to start with, I'm the whole package, and I'm positioning myself for help because I'm the whole package and I want to continue thriving, and I'm not going to thrive if I do everything like Superwoman. And then that will set me up to slow down and communicate more effectively and kind of have the back and forth with the person on like, my vision is your vision. The stuff that really matters to me is conveyed. The stuff that I can kind of let go of is let go of. And so, yeah, that idea of just knowing that you're the whole package first can manage that awkwardness when it comes to delegating and sort of embracing whatever the outcome might be.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times we say that we're delegating, but we give a long laundry list of, okay, here's what I want you to do, but let me tell you exactly how to do it.
Yeah, let me micromanage you, but we won't call it that. I'm helping, right? Yeah, all of those. I've definitely done those things, Gina, like calling myself out, right? It's hard to, it's hard to delegate well. And I think that really does stem from this idea of just knowing that you're enough to begin with. You're the whole package. And then how do I embrace the help? Because it is a vulnerable position. And then, embrace that it's going to be done a little differently. And that doesn't make it better or worse than what I did it.
And it's not a threat. Like, it's not a threat to me or to my career or my position. And I think in leadership too, you talk to a lot of leaders that this is a difficult thing for them as well in your organization, as I'm talking to working women. So it's a lot of, this is not just personal at home stuff, but this is in your workspace. How are you vulnerable? Just like you said, can you give us like a little tip, something to take away, like today, what could I do today?
Yeah, I literally just got off a coaching call with a client of mine who was feeling frustrated that their leader hadn't anticipated what some of their needs are. Like, they're working super hard, spinning, doing it all, sacrificing family stuff, like just hitting the wall. And you could see this person thoughtfully setting up their leader in kind of passive ways, right? And the challenge in the conversation was, how do you get a little bolder and kind of tell people what you need? Not softball it, share that you're, maybe fatigued, burning out, sacrificing things. Gosh, did you notice this extra work? I'm on this other, like, whatever the soft play was, but really like grabbing the person by the ears, getting a little bolder and saying, here's what I need from you. Because you can delegate up in appropriate ways, right? To your leader, laterally, people that maybe report to you. And so just be bold, give them a recipe. And my analogy in the call was, you're telling your leader, I want cookies. But you're not saying, here's the kind of cookie, here are the ingredients in the pantry, here's the day I want you to make those cookies. Like, you're not giving them the recipe for making those cookies. You're just softballing it and not really saying, I'm delegating the cookies to you. Go look in the pantry. You're capable of making cookies. I'm going to leave it up to you, right?
Yeah. And there's this fine like dance between those two things of softballing it, but then also micromanaging it. So, and every relationship I feel like is different too. How you approach the person is going to be different. How you approach your supervisor is going to be different than how you approach your partner. True. I mean, everybody's just different. And I wish there was a formula that we could just hand to people and say, do this. But there's not. So just practically speaking on a day-to-day basis, thinking through some of these things, like what can I give over that is an easy yes. Like, okay, this I can, delegate.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's the common denominator? So you're totally right that situational leadership, I should adjust my delegation and communication to the people in front of me. And what's a common denominator in that? Me, right? And really giving myself space to say, what are some things that I can offload that is still allowing me to show up the way I want to as a leader and accomplishing the work that, I need to maybe have my fingers in, or the work that isn't so important for me to have my fingers in. And just, you're the common denominator, right? So own it, own your consistency, own who you are, knowing that how you do it is going to be a little different, but the common denominator is you and your needs, and being willing to be self-aware and admit what you can let go of.
Yeah, and thinking about productivity and bringing the conversation back to like, how can I maybe go slow to go fast in your words, and putting delegation into all of that mix. How do you see that like broadening, your ability to go fast?
Yeah. So part of the challenge in delegating, right, is having that back and forth communication of like, hey, Gina, I need help with ABC. Here's like the end product, resources, setting Gina up for success, everybody knowing when it's going to be done, all the expectations. That takes a little bit of time. And it's obviously some forework on my part to think through what I want Gina to do, right? So that's the go slow part. You're like, man, Gina, do this. That's not helpful, right? Because that's going to cause you more work on the back end. So the go slow is recognizing that sometimes we have to just prioritize and think through and have the healthy handoff, the healthy accountability. Gosh, I'm never going to have to do that again because Gina's going to take it and rock it, right? And that's going to allow me to go fast on some other work because I'm not bogged down with this stuff that, it's not a passion for me. It's not really lining up with the work I need to have my fingers in. Gina's got this. Why am I not allowing Gina to run with it?
That's right. That's right. So I love this conversation. Where can people find you to get more from Kerri?
Yeah. So kerriburchill.com, same spelling as what's on the screen. And you can also look up this fun word, ASKhole. So on Amazon, you can buy the book, Leading Out of the ASKhole Trap. And I'm happy to meet with people and just connect about leader-like things. I love talking with people about leadership. It fuels me. So I'm happy to have off conversation with people about the work too. You can make appointments with me on my website.
Awesome. Awesome. And I will also leave all of Kerri's information in the comments section after we're done here, and also leave the link to the productivity boosters, which is your little freebie this month for the working women in my community. So hopefully you guys will pick that up as well. And delegating is definitely part of the list of productivity boosters. So thank you, Kerri, for being on the Coach's Corner this week. And until next time, you guys have a great day, and I will see you next week.
All right. Bye-bye.